I say boo-hoo on the timer. Let's just get this started. And don't die. Yes, it died. Freaking amazing. I don't know about stupid OBS. Hey, JT, welcome in. Two first timers at the top of the chat. We haven't even started yet. I think you've been here before. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Good evening. And I just crashed the game. So there's something about OBS and the game that just doesn't sit well with me. I really need to switch over to like the new setup, which is going to be like, the idea is to not use this computer to stream and just play the game. Just export what's on the screen and move on. And let something else stream it. And the game thinks it's not getting a video. All the things are breaking. Starting the game again. Blah, blah, blah. Welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. We are getting started as soon as I can get this game started. So if I'm at 100% and I switch, it crashes the game. But if I'm not at 100% and I switch, it shouldn't crash the game. So I'm going to switch now. And hopefully it doesn't crash the game while it's loading. There we go. You caught the last couple streams from the beginning and watched all, oh, dude. All the old ones. That's a lot. Thank you so much for following up. I hope you left a like on all those old ones. Maybe YouTube will give me some love because you're watching all the back ones. But thank you very much. I hope you enjoy it. This is actually, if I think about it, this is actually my 5th series, I think, or so far, that I've done since I started playing Farm Sim. And we are in their house now. You know, one thing about this house, this is one of the Brazilian houses, and don't get me wrong, I love the fact that they tried to make a bed, but beds are not that square. And I know that, like, you know, lower number of textures and lower number of objects, but I mean, it looks like a painful bed. And somebody turns the critter sound up. And these doorways are also not human height. Like, they're just too short by just a little bit. Anyways, we are on our Sino farm playthrough. What are we doing? I don't even remember. But welcome in, everybody. And the camera's not on. My name's Josh. This is the Gaming Joy channel. And this grass is super tall. Love it. I should probably cut this grass just for the sake of cutting it. Give it a little bit of extra grass. Oh, and there's the cat. I still don't know what's going on with this cat. I haven't fed it or anything. There's no, like, bowl for the cat. This is supposed to have a texture and it doesn't. But, like, this is the playground set, and there's nothing here in the playground set for a cat. There's no way to feed the cat, I don't think. There's a nice little bar and pit for cooking stuff. But anyways, what are we doing? So last time, if you guys remember, we're still in the same month. I slowed down time a little bit just to make sure we had enough time to finish this today. And then I made the mistake of saving after taking the screenshot. So let's put back time 1. So we have our baler. And we've got a bale wrapper, even though we haven't hit our limit. So here's the rule. So why are we doing this? If you're new and you haven't seen this, YouTube says it's not maintaining enough thing. Yeah, it's a pretty Minecrafty bed. Make a 1-button timestamp note. Oh, no, I didn't do that yet. But I remember enough. It's okay. So with our baling limit right here, we have to make another 80 bales, and then we're going to unlock auto wrap balers. It's supposed to say auto wrap balers and bale wrappers. So, but I went ahead and bought the bale wrapper because we're going to hit that limit soon enough. And then I took the screenshot, and then holy crap, that game's loud. I took the screenshot, and then I realized after I took the screenshot that I had hit save without realizing it. So we still have to actually do the work to make those extra bales. So we're going to do that first. Well, welcome in everybody. How are things going? This is I was hoping to actually get into this playthrough and do some of this baling last week, but we didn't actually make it here because we spent so much time looking at all of the new mods. As a little bit of an update for those mods, one of them has made it to testing, or one of them has made it into Mod Hub. The other ones are almost ready. They're with the testing team, getting the last little bit of testing done. I think we're going to need to get that other tractor over here to do this baling. This is pretty painful. Let's do that. Let's get the other baler, the other tractor. This one is having issues. I think we have some more windrowing to do, don't we? Yeah, we do. We can do the windrowing with this tractor, and then we'll get the other tractor to come over here. There we go. Now, I don't know why YouTube is being weird. YouTube says there's not enough content. Are you guys seeing the stream okay? Is it looking good? It should, but YouTube keeps giving me errors. Like, you're totally receiving enough information. Stop being dumb. It looks good. All right, thanks, Jake. We're gonna go ahead and set up our windrower. Now, I did have this set up, so it would be perfect. But I don't remember what it was. I gotta think here. Actually, can't do tracks yet, so we're just gonna go ahead and go up the middle of these rows, create a little bit of a windrow, give ourselves a little bit of less time going back and forth. How's that sound? Oh, it looks good at 1080. I don't even watch streams on 1080. I don't mind it. I watch videos on 1080 sometimes, but most of the time I just run it on 720. I notice the difference, but at the same time I don't notice the difference. I don't know. It's rare that I actually have my full attention on a stream. If that makes any sense. Like, I'm watching and I'm taking part, but you know, I'm spending a lot of time commenting and participating in the stream, and my full attention is not on the video quality of the stream, I guess. So I don't really notice if the stream quality is bad unless it starts lagging. If that makes sense. Well, welcome into the new people. Welcome to the new folks. We've had a lot of... one thing I wanted to say is thank you very much for everyone who joined the exclamation Discord channel recently. There's been a really big influx of really great people joining over there and also being very active, which for me, as just someone who does this for fun, is really awesome to see. I love people participating. I love people asking questions. I love being able to answer questions. So for everyone who's come in and joined the Discord or subscribed on the channel, thank you so much. The activity is it's heartening. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to call it a word. It makes me happy. So thank you very much for everyone who's joining, subscribing, participating in the Discord, all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much. It's been really great. We do have a One of the other live streams that I've been doing is about once a week or so. I'm doing on office hours, where I'm taking on a viewer question and attempting to fix or break or modify or edit something for a viewer. And we already got a great suggestion from one of our friends of the channel, Big Sky Farms, who has sent me a mod that looks like it was not quite finished. As in, it does the bare minimum of what it could do, but there's a lot more that it should do if you're comparing it against the real life equivalent piece of machinery. So we're going to take a look at it and see if we can get it to work, number one. And number two, maybe, potentially, get that piece of equipment to function and do 3 things at once. Yes, 3 things. So you guys have probably seen those rollers. Not rollers, but you've seen a few of those items that like mulch and cultivate at the same time. This is one of those items, but this one actually mulches, cultivates, and rolls. Now in the game, there's really no reason to do that. But there is technically 2 cultivating states. So you can have a cultivator that does a low cultivation. You have a cultivator that does a, it's not called low, it's called deep cultivating and low cultivating, or something like that. Yeah, deep and low. It's basically a surface level cultivation. And what happens is one of them cultivates the ground, and one of them gives the ground a seed bed texture. And I don't know if you can see it in the map. Let's look at the map real quick. Basically, if you come over here, see how there's this one that says stubble tillage, cultivated, plowed, seed bed, right? And so there isn't really any on the map right now except for like these borders. But there's probably some areas where it has a seed bed. So it's not just cultivated, it also has a seed bed. And the seed bed is that like much smoother looking, ready to plant thing, which is really awesome. Oh, look, there's an alert that Stream Elements gave me, but didn't show up in, I didn't hear it. I wonder why. Stream Elements should be, where does that come from? No idea. I don't know why that alert didn't come through, but thank you, Ronnie, for joining and becoming a sponsor. Thank you so much for joining the channel. We're still working on the membership roles, but you should get a nice little thing next to your channel. And we are going to actually, I'm working on some tractors. We're going to have tractors as the channel member icon. Right now it's the default ones from YouTube, but I got some cool tractors that I'm gonna put in as the icons. And I wonder if you guys can guess which tractor I chose. It's actually a tractor you'll be able to tell if you look at it right away. It's one of like my top tractors in the game. It's the one I use basically 2 tractors when testing. One of 2. And I use one of them more often than the other one. So one of them is the Fent. So when I come in to test something, I come in, I always come in large tractors, and I come in the Fent Black Beauty because it's black. I change the rim color to black. I buy it. And that's how I test like everything. If I need a tractor for something, the first thing I do is buy a Black Beauty. And just because it's black, that's literally it. Sometimes I change the engine configuration, but not always. But there's one other tractor that I use a lot. I wonder if anyone could guess. Watching me for long enough, you might know. This one's a little bit of a secretive one. If anyone doesn't get it right away, I have a good hint for you. Nope. Good guess, though. I did that Glenn Lethen series on with all Kloss tractors, and I'd been waiting a long time to do that. Mainly because that Xerion 5000 was one of the first tractors I ever modded. or edited, I should say. Welcome in, Bruce. Thanks for being here, sir. Thank you for joining, and welcome into the chat. These, this mower has windrows that just perfectly match this windrower. No, you know, J Meister, I don't think I've ever used a Case Magnum, and that's no offense to Case. I don't think I've ever used it. Never, never, never. I'll give you a here's a hint, and here's a hint. You have to really know this hint, right? Oh, look at that! Awesome, Bruce. Ronnie, thanks for the gifted membership. That's really, really nice of you. And Bruce got the membership, so you re-enabled Bruce's membership. So thank you. He had a membership last month. So the hint is this tractor that I'm using. This is a giveaway, but you know, I'll give it to you. Is actually a world record tractor. It holds the world record for something. Especially while we're talking about like the Olympics are going on right now and all people are breaking records left and right. This tractor actually holds a world record. Nope. The Big Bud, does it actually hold the world record? I actually didn't know that if it does. I wouldn't doubt it actually. The Big Bud might hold a US record for like, you know, most horsepower in a tractor or something, but I don't know if it actually holds a world record. Like we're talking Guinness Book of World Record. Like not just a marketing scheme, but a legit world record. So I've been spending a lot of time working on fixing up maps. And I've been working on Deadwood, trying to get the update for Deadwood out, which I think is going to be submitted sometime soon, if it isn't submitted already. And I did make a couple changes or additions to the watering system, which I'm very, very proud of. And then I've been working on the survival skills mod, this one a bit, starting to work on all of the data tracking, entry tracking stuff. There you go, JCB. Here you go, Mount Hossman. That's right. Yes, the JCB actually holds a world record for the fastest tractor. JCB worked with one of those speed world record people, I forget his name, in England, and they worked with him to get the land speed record basically with a tractor. And it was they recorded it, did it twice. They tried to beat their score the next year, and they got it up to I think 200, I don't remember the number, I think it's 231 miles an hour. But there is a world record version of the JCB around there. It's a pretty cool article if you ever want to read it. A world record holding tractor. It's got a supercharger and a turbocharger in it or something silly like that. So yeah, the plan is, if I can get it to work, is we're going to change the membership icons to be a... Yeah, it's the Fast Track 8330 with some pretty substantial modifications. So it's definitely not a stock Fast Track, which is still pretty fast. But it is a world record holding Fast Track. 500 subscriber goal. We should update that stream elements thing. We already hit 500. We're actually just over 500. 530 now. All right. We are windrowed. Let's go return the windrower and then get the other tractor down here and start some baling. We got a lot of grass to pick up. I don't even want to think about how many bales this is going to be. But if we're lucky, which I don't think we are, but if we're lucky, if you look at our stats, this is what I'm really hoping for, actually, just internally, baling. If we can get, if we have to make just under 80 bales to unlock bale auto wrap balers, and then we can get bale loaders if we do another 300 bales. So if we can make 380 bales from all that grass, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be like 250. We could unlock a bale loader, but otherwise I'm gonna have to pick it up with a fork, which is probably not gonna happen this stream, but I'm gonna have to pick it up. JCB is actually doing some pretty cool stuff. I actually, I like following, like they're one of the few like tractor brands that I follow like on social media. They're doing some pretty cool stuff. They have a whole line of hydrogen tractors coming out, like with all the other brands doing like everything they can to like, you know, make things bigger and faster and more horsepower. Like if you look at all the new tractors coming out from Kloss and Case and John Deere, like all they're doing is making their biggest tractors bigger, right? More horsepower, blah, blah, roar. And, but JCB is like, no, we're going to change the environment. We're going to save the world. And they basically took their standard engine that's in all of their fast tracks, and they made a freaking hydrogen version that runs off of compressed hydrogen gas, which is just insane to think about. And then they have a fast track running under hydrogen. They've got front end loaders. They've got their telehandlers running under hydrogen. They've got some of their excavators running as a hydrogen vehicle, which I think is pretty freaking cool. Yeah, excavator, backhoe, telehandler, and a fast track. And it's actually faster. Like, they actually made the fast track faster, if that's even possible. So the other thing we have to do is we have to scan. I think we might wait on the scanning until we're done. Because you have to mow this grass first before it becomes a field. So I'm going to go pick up the bale wrapper, which we're not supposed to have yet, and the one bale that we've wrapped. Yeah, good luck finding it. So what they did actually is they're focusing on the machinery side of things, not the fast track. But they built a hydrogen powered fast track that's a fuel truck that has a 400 gallon, I think, hydrogen fuel tank on the back, and they can drive that out into the field wherever the excavators are and whatnot. And oh, look, we finished this contract. Did we finish it? Yes. Collect. We still have to do the one on field 2, but we'll come back to that. Where am I? I don't even know where I am. Yes, I do. But yeah, so they have a fast track that can go out to the field in case it needs to be, and refuel fuel, quote unquote, the excavators or backhoes or telehandlers or whatever. And they also have a the other thing they actually made was a generator that will actually, you know, do the whole conversion thing in the field, which is cool. So we're gonna drop that right there. That was a really bad drop. I'm gonna have to pick that up later. We're gonna drive back to the farm. Let the cop car go by. Because I think we need this one to actually pull that baler. The other tractor actually does pull the baler pretty well. One thing I found out actually recently, I didn't know this, but like, see how they have the weeding contracts? So most of them have this blue weeder or the red weeder. But I don't know if it's this map or something, but there is a chance of you getting a weeding contract where the regular weeder doesn't work. And it's usually due to crop growth. If a crop grows twice in a single month and gets weeds during that time, due to whatever your growth calendar is set up, you could get stage 2 weeds. And the game's system for determining vehicles to use for contracts actually doesn't take that into account. Imagine that. This right here is, I mentioned this before, this little scene right here with the tree across the road and some guy standing there, and then the broke down tractor and the little dirt path to go around the tree that's lying across the road. I don't know why, but that's like my favorite scene. There's multiple scenes set up in this map, but it's my favorite one set up in this map. I don't know why. It just, maybe because I'm going around it, like driving through it all the time, but just, it's an extra level of detail that I think a lot of maps don't do. I love seeing like little construction site kind of detailed bits in maps. I think it's a cool effect. And I'm just going to drive through the woods. I need to go over there. I've never driven past through here, so if I run into a ditch, someone's gonna have to tow me out. Waylon, welcome in. Thanks for coming in and thanks for being here. Well, actually, one of the first things that I ever learned how to modify, it's a fun little fact. One of the first things I spent any time learning how to modify in a map is the mission system, actually. And so your mission vehicles, the definition of those mission vehicles is defined by an XML file. And 95% of maps don't define it. Most maps just ignore the fact that it's there and they just use whatever's base game. Right? Yeah, that's fine. They just use whatever's base game, and they don't bother actually customizing it. And you can customize it, and you can actually do it from a mod too. So there are very, very few mods, including the quick bale, that include a customization to the mission vehicles. And so one thing you can do, which I always found really weird, is like the first thing I did was I made a set of mission vehicles for every kind of mission possible. It was brand centric. So in other words, it always felt weird to me if you're doing like if you get like a Fent what is it? The 9R or 7R, 8R or whatever the harvester. Like it always felt weird. Like if you look at your contracts, I'll probably show up here. Let's see if we can show an example live. So if we look here, no, so there's no harvesting contracts, but it always felt weird to sometimes get like where you'd get like a Fent like a John Deere tractor and then a Case harvester, or a Fent harvester and like a John Deere tractor. Like to me, that just felt weird. Like you have, you know, a New Holland tractor and a New Holland harvester. That makes sense to me, right? But for whatever reason, Giants decided that was not a good idea, or they didn't want to be too brand specific. I don't know what their reasoning is, but they didn't actually set that up. So one of the first things I ever learned how to do was to set that up and customize it. And I made a map for like a group of people who I was playing multiplayer with, and basically set up a contracting map where you could do contracts, and all of the contracts had customized equipment for doing just contracts. So basically, like, you'd have, you know, brand specific equipment, but you'd have, you know, you'd get seed. I updated all the seeders so that the seeders didn't have fertilizer, so you just had more seed to play with. Or updating a few of the contract vehicles that were just underpowered for what you're asking them to do, right? And also added in a lot of bigger vehicles, like tracked tractors for a big plowing contract, and a big 24-foot, like a big what's it called, flexi coil plow, like for a big 4x contracting map, right? I thought that was appropriate, made sense, and made it a little bit more fun to play. That was actually one of the first things I learned how to do, and I've never shown it off. That map was gone quickly. It was actually Hobo's Hollow. I customized Hobo's Hollow to be a contracting map, and one of the things I had to do, this is when my first like foray into map editing, is Hobo's Hollow doesn't have any grass fields. Most people don't know that, or don't realize it, or don't notice. But there's no actual grass fields on Hobo's Hollow, which means that there's no grass contracts. So there's no baling contracts, which isn't fun. And so I had to learn how to make grass fields. I had to learn how to actually make new fields. I added fields that weren't there already. Empty plots of land that were actually grass, but weren't actually fields. So I learned how to do field dimensions, learned how to customize a field and add the properties for to make sure that it always was a grass field. Fun stuff like that. And that's how I started to learn how to do maps. Model Houseman was actually suggesting over on Discord that I should do a once I get a handle on things, that I should do a live stream, maybe during office hours, of building a map. And I would agree. But I know enough about the traditional way of building maps. What's the bale count up to? 152. We need to get to 200. To never actually build a map the traditional way. So I'm going to eventually, if I ever build a map, I'm building it the Ola way. The Ola Haldor way. Yeah, we're definitely not getting a bale loader. Like the number of I'm not getting enough bales, I don't think. I thought I was going to be able to get enough bales to unlock that bale wrapper on just the headland. That's what I thought. And I'm making the smallest bales I can make too, the 180s. Hey Ken, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Oh, J Meister, I did not hear anything about the NVIDIA driver update. So if they did fix it, I hope that's good news. I didn't see a patch come out for farming simulators, so I'm hoping it was a NVIDIA side thing. I haven't updated my graphics card driver in a couple months, just because I'm always playing, I'm always streaming, I'm always recording, and I don't want to interrupt that flow for potential problems. So I tend not to update stuff like graphics card drivers very often. Circle around this tree a couple times. And then here we go into a straight line. Yay! Finally! Actually, we'll go in a straight line next time. We've got to get the border first, and then we can do lots of straight lines. Oh, nice. Well, that's good to hear. I'm happy they fixed it. It's funny, Nvidia's got like multiple market segments they're going after. You know what I mean? Like, they're not only going after gamers, they're also going after all the people who are doing like Bitcoin mining and stuff like that. So they're trying to go after both gamers and GPU users who are just using them as GPUs as processing. And so they have like multiple market segments they're trying to like deliver on, I guess. So they have an interesting business model and what they're trying to deliver, I guess. How many we got? 175. Yeah, it is Pain Dragon. Sorry about that. That's so I actually like that. But that's a preference that I made. So and I know that there are some other maps that actually change the ground texture of just after you mow, which is of course something you can set in XML. It's not hard to set. It's not hard to change. But there are some maps out there that have changed the grass texture to be like after you mow, like what's it, Fairhead. I don't know if it's still that way, but there was an update to Fairhead at some point, and I know Valley Springs is that way now, where they're using a very bright brown ground texture after you cut, which makes the bales show up super bright. So I actually don't like it. I went to play Fairhead just to check it out. I was on the map for all of 5 minutes and I was like, I can't do this. And so I opened the map, I unzipped it, I changed the ground texture back to the base game, and then I played the map. Because I couldn't stand the color, that brown color. It was so, it's like the wheat cut color. Yeah. But I mean, the one thing I like about this grass, and I like on any map, is when the windrow color is the same color as the bales. That's important to me because that's consistency. It's visual consistency. Oh, there's a license plate on this baler. Weird. The visual consistency is what I like. One of the things I didn't like about what's it called, Maize Plus, and one of the reasons I've never used it is because they have multiple colors for tedding, and when you're messing with grass and tedding, they have multiple colors that it uses. But there's one state where like the fully tedded grass with Maize Plus is this like brown color, like not green and not a light green, but a brown color, like almost a straw color, or like a halfway between straw and silage color. But then when you bale it, it turns into a regular hay bale. So you get this like super weird inconsistency between the color of the windrow and the color of the bales. I was watching Scroff's videos earlier today, and he did a video where he was doing a contract for somebody in his farmhand series, and he has Maize Plus on there just for, I'm not sure why, but he does. And he basically did a contract where he was mowing and then tedding someone's grass field. And it was weird because the baler was picking up one color and then a different color bale was being spit out, which is, to me, a little odd. It is what it is. Not necessarily complaining, but it's a little odd. This baler, I don't know if it's the hill or not, but it seems to like always kick the bales out in a sideways direction. But if you haven't watched or you didn't know, this grass and this meadow texture are both custom. They're both textures that I customized and or got from other maps. So I wanted this map to look a certain way. I found a couple maps that I really liked, and I was like, oh, I like the grass texture on this map, or I like the meadow texture on this map. And I brought those into this map for this playthrough, just because, you know, if I'm going to be staring at something for a while, I want it to be something I like. So I customized the density, the multiple growth stages, how it looks, what it looks like after it's cut, all that kind of stuff. So all things that you can customize very easily, but they take a little bit of knowledge as far as map editing is concerned to do. But also, one of my favorite things to do, almost every map I ever do a series on, I customize the grass. Mainly because I don't like how the base game grass looks. Like your base game planted grass in a grass field. Like this is actually a grass field. But I mean, if you look, I think here's a piece of grass that I missed. This is the grass on this map. Right? It's totally different. This is the grass on this map. This is the FS19 backwards compatibility textures. And this is the meadow on this map. Very custom stuff. But as my favorite thing to do is grass work, I want it to look the best it can look when I'm doing my work. Yeah, I played with Maze Plus for, I think once when I was testing a map. I think I was playing with it on Paddington Park. But I think I got distracted by the base game grass. I think for Maze Plus to really work, it needs to have custom bales for each of the growth stages. But having custom bales can be annoying, and it takes a lot of work to get custom bales to work right, specifically around selling, because then each custom bale becomes its own fill type that needs to be sold, and or in a lot of maps, like what's a good example, like Stone Valley is a good example. Stone Valley by Lancy Boy, it was a great map, but it's set up to have alfalfa and clover, right? And obviously alfalfa and clover are grass type crops, but the map wasn't set up for them to grow like grass. And then even if you put that aside, it made custom bales. Now when you mowed it, it made what looked like a grass windrow. It didn't look like anything else. It's just a regular grass windrow. And then when you bale it, it looked like a grass bale. Like it wasn't anything special. It just looked like a normal everyday grass bale. And when you tedded it, it looked like hay. But when you baled it up, it was its own custom type. Now a lot of maps have done this. I think what's the other one that I'm playing on that has it? Goldcrest Valley also has alfalfa and clover that are set up the same way, where it doesn't actually look different. It just uses the grass bale texture. And to me, that's a bummer that it doesn't have its own custom bale. And then the second part that's a bummer is that sometimes the map authors choose to add those crops to their map, but they don't fully integrate it into their map. What do I mean by that? Like, just like a lot of maps you'll see out there, which I think is kind of sad. You'll see a map that adds a custom crop, right? Like this map. Here's an example. This map is a good example. This map is an example of what I'm not a fan of. So this map has coffee beans, black beans, rice, millet, pinto beans, onion, garlic, and carrots, right? All of those extra crops. Cool, right? Some of them are nice. Some of them have custom things about them. The carrots are not the same carrots as the Platinum expansion. This came out before that. The garlic and onions look pretty cool. Pinto beans look awesome. Black beans look awesome. Coffee beans, you have to actually plant the orchards, and I haven't done that yet. But here's the problem. Is you come here to your selling table, and you get coffee beans, black beans, rice, millet, pinto beans, onion, garlic, carrot. Roasted coffee. That's it. Roasted coffee is the only thing. Coffee beans turns into roasted coffee. That's the only production that you can do with it. So you can harvest these crops, but the only thing you can do is sell them. And for most of them, there's only one place to sell them. Like all the root crops, just one place. And so I think that's kind of a miss, right? To me, that's a bummer, because you're taking all of the time as a map author to add something new, maybe that people haven't seen before, maybe they haven't seen much before. You're integrating it in your map, and then there's nothing to do with it. All you can do is sell. Which I get, it takes work to add those custom palettes or custom productions, but that's kind of what we've come to expect with Farm Sim 22, and then even more so in Farm Sim 25 once that comes out. Is I think they're going to even go further down the road into productions. So if you add a crop to a map and you don't add a production, then there's no reason for someone to actually make that crop or produce that crop or farm that crop. So I really, and I don't want to be wrong. I want to be wrong, but I really hope that Giants figures out something to do with rice. Like, we're getting rice and spinach that we know of, potentially more crops, but we know rice and spinach. I really hope there's a production chain to work with rice and spinach. Like, are we making sushi? Sure. Are we making rice balls? Great. Maybe if they added like a sesame crop, you could make sesame rice balls. You know? Or if you're on the Asian map, then you could just do, you know, maybe there's even just a cooked rice factory. I don't know. Whatever, right? Like, I really hope that they include some kind of production into it, and not just a, don't get me wrong, model husband, spinach salad. What are you gonna do? Lettuce and spinach, and you get boxes of spinach salad? Like, yeah, stir fry, peas, eggs, carrots, like a rice stir fry. We don't know if they're gonna add it. I doubt they will, but I still think they should add meat as a product so that you could actually have, you know, you could make cornmeal and then make fried chicken or something, you know what I mean? Like, that would be pretty epic. How many bales were we at now? 244. Why are we going so slow? Oh, I didn't have the gas on. Yeah, I really hope that they include meat products into the game. I know there's restrictions on stuff, but honestly, I don't believe those were a restriction for a minute. Yeah, pork fried rice would be great. How awesome would that be? To be able to make pork fried rice, like as a factory product, and actually have animals as products you can sell instead of just selling them for money. You're actually making pork that you have to deliver to another factory and make pork fried rice. you know? Chicken, like street food chicken skewers, which is something that they have in Japan, which are really good, by the way. If you ever get to go to Japan, have like street food, like the chicken skewers street food, it's so good. Cooked over a little teeny tiny, like charcoal grill, like a little cart, you know, super good. Like, I think that they should do that. I don't, here's my argument for it, right? You can't claim console restrictions anymore. I don't think that's even possible. Look at all of the stuff that's in GTA, and you can't tell me there's a restriction on blood and gore. Right? Come on. Yeah, hopefully we get to see more equipment. I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the equipment. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the XML, honestly. That's, for me, I'm looking forward to see what they do with the XML. Because from some of the developer talks, they've been mentioning basically a cleanup of some of the very repetitive XML that's in the game. One of them is going to be able to make vehicles much easier to define, and adding tire options even easier than it is now. Right now it's a lot of boilerplate, or like code you just copy paste, you don't really think about it. But supposedly they're making that better, so I can hope. That's not true. And I actually don't own this land in between, but that would be kind of cool to own this land and then cut down all these trees and then merge these two fields and make like a big grass valley. That would be kind of cool. I don't think we'll have time to do that, but it'll be cool. Ronnie asked a great question. Am I going to make mods for console for FS25? And the answer is yes. All of the mods that I currently make for console will be ported over to FS25 as soon as humanly possible. The Fieldwork Fill Station will be getting ported over. It's going to have a new name. It's going to be called the Farm Film Station. Try that again. Farm Fill Station, or maybe just the Fill Station. I might just call it the Fill Station. That's even better. And the Fieldwork Fill Station will be one of the internal fill stations you can get. There'll be a liquid one and maybe a fuel fill station and a husbandry fill station and a bulk fill station, which will be like a bulk buy everything kind of thing. All of those will be coming over for sure, with its own custom model. It'll be the first time most people see the new model, which is going to be exciting. But yeah, anything that I'm currently making or that's in progress right now, like the VPW stuff is in testing, that's definitely coming to FS25, and that's also going to be all platforms as long as Giants approves it. I do have a couple internal secret projects in the works for some building packs for FS25 that are going to be also for all platforms. Custom buildings that are not in the game at all, completely new models that you've probably never seen before. So that's going to be coming for FS25, but that's also a new project for me. So it's not something I've ever done before. So I'm going to be learning as I release them in some way. So please don't give me a 1-star rating just because it doesn't have decorations inside or something. All right, so we had, how many did we have? 275. So we go back to our survival skills. We have actually achieved goal level 3. So we have unlocked square balers, auto wrap balers, and bale wrappers. And then we need another 200 plus bales to get to level 4, which is going to give us bale loaders. And then we'll get up to auto load. So any kind of auto load, whether you want to use universal auto load or just regular auto load for bales, that's the last level. But I have a lot of grass to cut, and so I'm thinking maybe one more cut of all that grass, and I should be able to unlock auto load and be able to use a bale loader or universal auto load. That'll be nice. Can't wait for that. But I'm going to put in the work, lifting up these bales, picking them up with a front end loader, and stacking them up. I got a new subscriber. Thank you for, if you're in the channel and you're here, I just got an alert on YouTube. Great username. The username is Night Possum Down Under. Has subscribed to my YouTube channel, so thank you very much, Night Possum. If you're here, definitely shout out in chat. It's a great username. If you're just lurking, that's cool too. No worries. Thanks for the subscription. Means a lot. So I'm going to put out a poll later this week. And ask if we should continue with this map. So we've got a couple months left for FS25. And I'm going to definitely be doing FS25 content once it comes out. Potentially seeing if this mod still works. Oh, you're from Australia. Welcome. Welcome, sir. I should have guessed that from the username, but welcome in. It must be early or late for you? Late? Early. No, it's early. I work for the team in Australia, so we have our meetings with them at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, I'm totally stuck. Stuck between a tree and a hard place. Oh, there we go. But yeah, I'm going to put out a poll about whether we should continue on with this map or potentially go to another map. Should we start over and do something different? Once we get like this mod a little bit further along. Might be fun to see how it plays out now that we've kind of worked out some of the kinks on a new map. And I do have a new map already set up. I was thinking of doing like a throwback and going to visit Westby. There we go. We hit the 100 mark. We already did 100 bales since we unlocked it. So I don't know. It's going to be close. It's not going to be enough, but it's going to be close. Oh, so it's 12 p.m. Okay, so it's noon for you. Okay. This is a map called Sino. I can show you the map real quick. Here's the map for Sino. This is on Sino or Sino Farm. Or the actual zip file is called Fazenda. I can't pronounce it. Fazenda Sino. Basically Sino Farm. And this is the map. It's a very, very interesting map. It hits a couple qualifications for me. when I pick out maps. One of those qualifications is that it can't be flat. So my number one qualification when I look at maps is there has to be terrain undulations of some kind. I can't stand flat maps. And this is the slowest bale wrapper ever. Are you done yet? I gotta speed that animation up just a little bit. Good lord. I'm used to like the fast bale animation, which like, you know, zip, 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 and it's done. This one is like, I'm gonna fall asleep while watching that one. Well, if I'm gonna fall asleep while watching it, I might as well like put them all in the same place. Yeah, because I already wrapped it. There's the alert. Thank you, Stream Elements, for catching up with the stream. Good job. And so these will all become silage bales. So let's see how big these bales are. Actually, I haven't looked. So this is going to be... It's 2,084 liters. That's such a weird, oddly specific number. 2,084 liters. So weird. Of grass. So these are actually custom bales for that D800, D1000 baler. Which is kind of fun. I might go back to baling. This is painful. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave them in place. I'll come around with a bale wrapper later. Anyway, so this map is pretty cool. It's got very, very big fields. And one of the things I love is like field 19 is one of the good example. And you can really see it here on this menu when you look at the crops. So like field 19 is soybeans or pinto beans. It's pinto beans. And so if you look, see that right there? That's all one field. And there's multiple pieces of the field, and they're like, there's roads that kind of go across the field and break it into small sections, which I think is really cool. Or like field 5, which is carrots, right? It's these two sections, and there's this big waterway in the middle. Or like field 1, which is, I forget, oats, barley, oats. And it's this like this huge big rolling hill. It's crazy. But the map is pretty awesome. It's got a lot of cool stuff. I'll do a quick fly around. Actually, we haven't done a fly around in a while. Let's do a fly around for Mr. Night Possum, who just subscribed. So we're gonna let's let that guy sit there. We're gonna do a super speed fly around. And we're gonna do this, do that, and we're gonna fly. And so this is the main farm right here. It's really a house. It's a house and a playground and one building. That's it. That's all that's on the main farm. There isn't even a silo. One of the cool things this map has is this right here, which is... There's a production here. I think this is where you buy the production. But you have this like... What do I call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Orchard. You have an orchard with banana trees and orange trees. And you get pallets up here that aren't spawning right now because I'm having them delivered. But they spawn right here. Bananas and orchards. Bananas and oranges. And then there's a fish farm down here, which produce... pallets of fish. You see the fish? Pallets of fish. Also custom to the map, which is pretty cool. I love custom productions. You've got a a significant amount of lime and a significant amount of stones that are part of that little area, which you can buy and then sell, which is what we've been doing. You've got like these hills. Like, look at this hill. Look at this hill. This is redonkulous. It's super steep. I love it. This map is just PC. And in all honesty, this map is just on my PC. Because I've changed it significantly from the original map. But this is an oat field. And I've harvested this field before. It's insane. It's huge. And not only that, it's all this and all this. And then there's also a piece over here. It's like hiding off in the hills. This is also part of that same field, which is crazy. But it's got a cool dealership, which I had to fix because it wasn't working right. This cool dealership with like actual people standing at the counter. We've talked about these people before. This guy has way too big of a smile on his face. I think that might be like the modder who made the map. I don't know. That guy looks shady, shifty. Oops. It's got a pull-through area in the back of the dealer, which is cool. I put a car wash thing in there because that's what it's supposed to be there. It has an awesome, really big shop that you can pull into, which I fixed to make it work as a shop. It's got a rice area right here. So this is actually a rice crop. This is a withered rice crop since this isn't an actual field in the game. The NPCs don't consider it a real crop, but it has the ability to flood the field. You can see it has water in it now. What else? This is like your animal dealer area, where you can buy and sell animals and bales and all that kind of stuff. Grain mill for selling grain. And then of course, just lots of big open rolling fields. I love it. It's so cool. This map is not on ModHub. It was on King Mods. It was released by a modder called Medeiros Modding. But they actually, I think they kind of released this for their friends, in all honesty, because a significant part of the map, this is all the rolling hills. It has a custom dem around it. It's like they put a lot of work into this map. But the original NPCs on the map, where's the contracts? So these are not the original NPCs. The original NPCs were the map author's friends, like literally like selfie photos from an iPhone. And some of them were inappropriate. And so I replaced all the NPCs with AI generated NPC images and AI generated NPC names just to have it be safe for streaming. But it's got like a lot of really awesome waterways like this, flooded areas, lots of cool stuff. And then there's of course South America. It's got to have a gravel mine. This gravel mine I can't stress that enough, heavily edited. The road network of this gravel mine was there, nothing else. He had a lime sell point here originally, and I replaced it with Mack Trucker's concrete production, which includes multiple custom fill types. And then I piled up those fill types around here. So eventually we could actually buy this lime, scoop up all these fill types, and make concrete, which I think we're going to try to do at some point in this playthrough if we can ever get there. But as you can see, there's a ridiculous amount of rock and the other custom fill types like this right here, where it flowed down to the bottom of the hill. I did it all myself. This is sand. I actually put all of those crops on the map, or stones on the map. Yeah, and overall the map's pretty cool. It's got custom vehicles on the roads. Like you see the custom vehicles here, they're all waiting to go around. They're these cop cars. They're all like contextual to the area. But I mean, like, this one's a Ford. So this is a Ford, but it says Dorf instead of Ford. So it's obviously not getting onto ModHub. And then there's like the scene here with like, yeah, bikini girls and stuff, which is not really appropriate. So there's a lot of stuff on this map that just wouldn't be allowed on ModHub just because of the way they did it. Hey, Harold. Harold Bijnen. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking it out. But I do like the map. I think it's a really good map. I really, really liked it because, mainly because it's hilly. And I prefer hilly maps. I like the... What am I trying to do here? I like the challenge of having to harvest or mow or whatever on hills. I like that challenge. For me, and I like the draw distance or the scenery you can get, like this scene right here looks awesome to me. Like I'm seeing the other field down and through a valley. Like I can see my windrows over there that I still have to, you know, finish baling. But when you're on a perfectly flat map, you don't get that. And it's actually one of the things I like. The last playthrough we played on was on Glenlethen, which is also, it's a European map, but it's also very hilly. And Cavalier Roy did a really great job with that map, and we had a lot of fun playing on it. On Mod Hub, that's a good question. Do I have any maps on Mod Hub? So Glenlethen is one that's on Mod Hub. That's a European map that's really great. One of the oldest, most of the South American maps that are on Mod Hub, I actually think are really great. They're different, but most of the older ones, the newest one, which was, what was the new one called? Alvarado or something like that. That one was okay. I prefer some of the old ones. The older ones, Recanto del Alvarado was really good. Oh gosh, there's a bunch of South American maps that I really, really like. I really like because a lot of the South American maps are hilly. Lots of terrain. As far as American maps, my favorite American map is also not on Mod Hub, and that would be Middleburg. One of my second favorites, honestly, just because of the hilly nature of it, is going to be something like Westby. And that's actually one of the other maps I'd like to play before I stop playing FS22. I want to play at Westby again, because Westby was a very hilly, wide open 4X map that was kind of great. If you're looking for something definitely on Mod Hub, something like Bucks County is going to be good from a hilly perception. All of Poor Boy's maps are really, really good on Mod Hub. Those are really great. But the other one that I think we needs a little bit more love is actually Australia. I would love to see more Australian maps on Mod Hub. There's been a couple, but those couple that were out were a little buggy, and not as finished. I'm a big fan, personally, of details. Like we were talking about earlier, that little, like what's it called? Like the tractor with the fallen tree and stuff like that. Like little details like that. Like you could have just made a road that goes straight through, but instead the map author took the time to set a scene, to tell a story. And that's one thing I really like about maps, is that when they take that time to do those extra details, you know, like when they build a forest, it's not all the same tree, right? Like if I look out here, yes, a lot of them are those really tall trees, but there's also a lot of other trees around where it actually looks real. It feels real. It feels, you know, complete. It feels like a real place, and I always like that. I'm trying to think of other maps that on Mod Hub that I would recommend, but I think almost every map that I would recommend, probably the only ones I'd recommend on Mod Hub, are going to be Poor Boy's maps. And I especially like Poor Boy's maps, going back to what we were talking about earlier, because he adds extra crops and he adds custom bales and he adds extra stuff to do. There's always so much to do on any one of Poor Boy's maps, that you could play them forever. I'm particularly fond of his most recent one, which is Deadwood, because one of my custom grasses is on Deadwood, which is the prairie grass. It's the grass that I made, and that's the first map that got released with that map on it. Yeah, exactly, Bruce. Bruce and I helped Poor Boy a lot with that map. It's Poor Boy's map, but Bruce and I helped out a lot. Bruce did a ton of testing for Poor Boy, and I helped him fix a couple bugs on it, and he was gracious enough to add my name to it when the new version hits newsstands tomorrow. But yeah, Deadwood is a great map, and then he's also adding some of those stuff like the prairie grass on some of his other maps too, if he gets around to updating them. So that's pretty cool too. But I love how he'll create a crop, and then he'll have multiple production chains that use that crop for different things. And so it's not just a harvest and sell kind of mentality. It's a harvest and do something with it, and then that something turns into something else, and you have a multiple step process. Like, one of my favorite recipes is probably the hardest recipe in the game, which is, making a cake or making cereal, right? Because it requires multiple crops, it requires multiple things to do, it requires multiple steps, and you have to actually think about it. And personally, I like that. I think that production aspect of it is something that I think we as players have come to expect from FS22, and I'm happy that his maps take that into account. Outlaw, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for jumping in. Happy to see that you made the stream. I hope your day is going great. We are making little teeny tiny bales on Sino, trying to get our baling skill. So if you're new here, this is the survival skills mod, and we have a bunch of skills that we're trying to get through. We've almost unlocked. We have 3 more months. We unlock 200 horsepower tractors, which is great. We have 1 more tree to cut down, and we'll get to our forestry level 2, which will allow us to use stump grinders and log loaders. And we have a bunch of stumps we have to get rid of, so we're looking forward to that one. Ooh, look at this. I didn't realize we were so close. We unlock auto drive go-to mode soon. I can send people around the map with auto drive soon. Only 50 more miles. That's awesome. I didn't realize I'd gotten that far. What else? You need to sell some more pallets. I think this should be up about here. I don't think that's updated. And 1 more contract, and we unlock course play for contracts, which means doing contracts will be a lot easier once we get course play going. But yes, this is the mod that I'm making, and we're helping come up with all the rules here. There's a few more that should be here. Right now I'm working on, for the mod, I'm working on all of the vehicle tracking stuff. So tying actually what happens into the game, into the statistics that the game has, some of which the game isn't tracking. So I'm going to add new statistics to the game so that with it, when you're using my mod, it tracks things that the base game doesn't track. Which will allow us to have new things. One of those is like upgrading equipment. You have to use your equipment for 5 working hours before you can upgrade it. So that mower, I think we can actually upgrade now. The mower we've been using, we can upgrade now, which is great. I'm not sure what mower we're going to go to, but we will upgrade it soon. Outlaw asks a good question. If you were to edit a silage bunker, and you want to edit the capacity of the silage bunker, how much grass does it store? Do you have to actually edit anything in the silage bunker itself? As far as I know, the answer is no. I don't believe so. But with silage bunkers. Silage bunkers is one of those few places in the game where the visual of how much is there is actually important. So if you take a silage bunker that used to hold 1,000,000 liters and you change it to hold 2,000,000 liters, I don't know if that'll work. I've never tried it. I don't think you have to edit anything else with the visual effect, but you might have to edit the the overall, like, the shape of how much will fill, how much will it hold. But I'm not sure. You can always just try it out and see what happens. That's what I do. 90% of the stuff that I've learned about modding has been trial and error. Try it out, see what happens. Change a number here, change a value there, see what happens. Like this bale wrapper. I know that there's a number somewhere that defines how fast the animation speed happens. So when I get off stream, I'm going to go ahead and edit that animation stream, or that animation string, and change it from like 9 or whatever it is right now to be like a 2. And so it goes zip, zip, zip. Oh, so if you're talking about that custom one that someone made for you that looks like a production but isn't a production, no, you shouldn't have to ever change. You won't have to change anything in the mod. If you're talking about a real silage bunker that you have to compact, you might have to. But for the one you're talking about, if it's the one we're on the same page here, you should not have to edit it at all. You could change it to be from 1,000,000 to 10,000,000 and you wouldn't have to change anything. Because it's just a visual. It's not actual real. It's not an actual fill plane. I'm pretty tired of wrapping. Let's go back to baling for now. This thing is so slow. All right, I'm gonna run over here. Oh my gosh, my running speed is still on. Who left that on? Who left that on? So yeah, my thought was to potentially move our survival skills. Maybe get to the end of the first year. And then move our survival skills playthrough to another map. With different equipment and different stuff and different things to do. And I was thinking of moving it to Westby, just because I really want to play that map one more time before FS25. The one thing I would do is I would probably, not on stream, I would probably play through the first year or so. Maybe do a setup video with like hey, this was the first year of gameplay, and do all the same stuff like the contracts and buying some land and getting the equipment and working through some of our survival skills so that we kind of start in the same place, where we leave this map, go to another map. But Westby is also a lot less interesting than this one. Mainly because there's no custom crops, there's no weird stuff around the map. But yeah, if anybody wants to see that, let me know in Discord. Make sure you join the Discord, and I'll open a chat, or we can talk about in the survival skills channel about whether or not we should move to another map. We've been here for almost, what is this, episode 15? Maybe by episode 20 we'll move to the next map. That'll give us 2 months or so in the next map before 25 comes out. And I'm actually going to try. I don't know if it's going to work. I would love to actually play in the new one of the either the Asian map or the American map. I haven't decided which one yet. To play in one of the new maps, but play with this mod installed. So I'm hoping it's just going to port over directly. I am not very confident that it will, but if we're lucky, maybe we can do a survival skills over on one of the new maps. Kind of play a different way than everyone else who's playing that map or the new game. See? So we're at how many bales? 330, which means we go back to baling. About a third of the way done. Yeah, Westby's fun. Westby's got a lot of... So Westby has a lot of very interesting customizations within the existing systems. So a lot of the animal barns take very specific food. There is like dried corn and cracked corn and a bunch of other like custom things you're doing with some crops that don't really get very much love on that map. One of the fun things I like about Westby is the grass texture is very close to a grass texture I've made. They made it the same way. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. It's also a very tall grass. Very similar to the grass on Valley Spring. And you know me, I like a nice tall grass. And there's two other maps that I want to play, but for series that I want to play before 25 comes out. One of them is a map that I've showed off on this stream before. Long time ago. It's another South American map, which is part of the reason why I want to maybe move off of this map to an American map for the stream, because then I'm not playing two South American maps at the same time. Which is Pirimberis. I think I'm pronouncing that right, or hopefully I'm close. I don't know. Pirimberis was a map that was released, gosh, 2 years ago, and over a year ago I finished editing it to fix, just like I did with this one, to fix a bunch of stuff that I thought was broken for me, so that I could use it for a playthrough. And so that map I would really love to play, partially because I put so much time and effort into fixing stuff. But I want to do like an 80s style playthrough on that map. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I wish so too, Outlaw. One of the benefits of the prairie grass, if you guys haven't seen it yet, which is only on Deadwood, so check out the Deadwood map on ModHub if you want to see the prairie grass that we're talking about. The prairie grass has two sizes. Has a short style and a tall style. By default, both of those sizes will mow directly into hay, so you don't have to ted it. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because then you don't have to ted it for hay. It's a bad thing because then you can't make silage out of it. So it's not a win-win, it's a win sort of win. But that means that if you're cutting grass, you can cut your grass for silage. If you're cutting prairie grass, you just cut it for hay, and you don't have to ted it, you just get hay. And that's a custom thing that no one else has done. I'm the only one who's ever figured out how to do that. And Deadwood is the only map that it's currently on. But that's going to be also released very soon as a prefab, so that map authors other than Poor Boy can include that in their maps should they choose to. And then the last map, I can't pronounce it. It was also not a ModHub release. It's another map that I've spent a significant amount of time editing and fixing. It's basically an alpine map. It's a 4x alpine map with really, really small fields. And for my use case, that's actually a good thing. I'm not actually planning on doing any farming whatsoever when I play that map. But that's going to be for like a... I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of a role play I'm thinking of, but I've never done a role play video, so I don't really know how it's going to work out. But I'm going to try it. I have a whole story and everything all cooked up in my head. So hopefully that's in our future. Because that map was something else. How's everyone doing tonight? Are you guys enjoying this playthrough on Sino? This is available for channel members and Discord members. So I do have a copy of my edited version of this map, which takes out some of the non-compliant things. I don't know how to say that nicely. Removes some of the non-compliant things and fixes a bunch of problems that the map had, specifically around translations and whatnot. I have an edited version that's up on my Discord server if you're interested in playing this map. And I should really update that edit to remove my start from scratch start. I realized that when I sent it to somebody, Model Houseman, I think, he's up here in chat earlier. I sent it to him, and I realized after I sent it to him that I basically disabled the new farmer mode and made only work for my start from scratch weird special tent thing. And so, which is not needed at all. So I may edit it again and give you guys a version you guys can play too. How are we doing? Ooh, 57% towards our goal. I don't think we're going to reach it. I think we're going to be like 20 bales short of being able to get a bale loader. And then, of course, we'll have to find a bale loader that works with these bales, which I don't think exists. So we might just have to pick them up manually and then get a real baler so we can pick them up later. Or I might have to edit a trailer. Let's look at bale trailers. Do I have any bale trailers? No. Let's look at bale trailers. I haven't looked at bale trailers. So the goal of this says that anything in this category for bale loaders would work. This right here could be a good one. And like the farm tech, I could update the farm tech to have auto load for these bales, because it's technically a bale loader. That's relatively easy. We're almost done with this field. I don't know if we go back to bale wrapping. I don't want to do bale wrapping anymore. You know, we could do, you know what we'll do? We'll go back over to field 2. As soon as I finish baling this, I'm going to head back over to field 2. And we will start that weeding contract and get a worker going. And after we do that contract, we'll unlock course play for contracts. So that'll be good. It'll be exciting. 4:46. It's pretty late. We also got to make sure we get that contract done. Once these bales are baled, you don't have to wrap them all right away. But we're almost out of fuel. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to get fuel before we go back to field 2. We are so close to being dry. We're on hard mode here, so the hard economy, and we also high fuel usage, so you have a good chance of running out of fuel. Hence the run it dry achievement. So we'll probably hit about 70%, I think, on our total thing for the baling unlock, which is fine. Our grass field will be ready in a month or two. But we've been going hard to that baling achievement, or baling skill, to try to unlock it. And there we go. Let's look. Baling, 66%. Oh, 200. That's so crazy. So we need exactly 100 more bales to unlock the next level. Come on, fall off there. We need exactly 100 more bales to unlock our next goal for baling. 100 more bales. So that means we're picking up all these bales. Probably get them all wrapped and picked up off stream. But we're going to have to pick them up manually, that front end loader. Give me lots of front end loader practice. Let's go over and get that contract started and get a worker set off on it before we end our stream tonight. I am using every square inch of this barn. Oh, look, it didn't fall into the floor this time. That's good. Last time it fell into the floor. Whoop. I totally hit that fence. Clipped it. I want to build this road. It's one of the things I want to do before we leave this map. Is I want to buy this plot of land and I want to build the road that goes from our farm out the back way to the store. It's really, that's one of the things I really want to do. I don't know why. Probably because I did it when I made that road when I was testing this map out. And for me, it's just like, it's kind of one of those things I want. All right, we're up on fuel. And the contractor is the next thing we're working on. 31 hours on this tractor. We're totally ready to upgrade this tractor. I think this is one of the custom crops right here. I don't know what crop it is. What crop is this? That is 8. That's not sorghum. Oh, it is. I think they changed the crop texture for sorghum. That doesn't look like sorghum, does it? You guys let me know. Does this look like sorghum? Growth stage 2 of sorghum? And why does sorghum have only 4 growth stages? That's a little odd. But yeah, I'm probably not going to expand into the rest of the map. I'll probably just expand into that piece right there to make the road. And then probably buy this rice field so that we can actually get some rice in the ground and harvest rice at least once. Might do that before we make the road just because, you know, it's one of the custom crops. One of the things this map did is that it introduced like introduced onions and garlic and carrots, but there was no way built into the map to harvest those crops. So you got custom crops, but you had no way to harvest them, which doesn't really help. Like, why would you have a custom crop and then not have any way to harvest it? That doesn't help anyone. That John Deere is crazy. One thing I hope they do in the next game is I really hope they take the car models and give them more variety. So the cars that are driving around the street, like there's like, I think there's like 8 unique cars on the road, but if you think about it, each of those cars can be in multiple colors, but the way the game is currently set up is you only ever see one color, right? You only ever see the default color. And I think that it would be a pretty easy thing to change, to be able to say, hey, if you don't see the color, then this color, you know, be able to change the color. Yeah. No way to harvest a custom crop. This doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that anymore. And like, they didn't even add the right code into the map so that you could like it would, the custom crops wouldn't even work in the grain bins or anything like that either. Oh, this is gonna be an annoying one to do the thing on. Look at this, you can't even really see what you've changed. It's annoying. But like stuff like this on this map, the other thing I liked about this map is the detail, right? It's like, if you look at it, like it's, I don't know, like the little pond there in the middle, like that's just not something you see on most maps. Like most map makers make these big open wide fields with huge borders around it, and in my mind that's not how real life is. Maybe it is in some parts of the country, of the US or in other countries, but I kind of like this kind of down home feel of the South American map specifically. Almost all of them are like this. where everything's not square. It's all just like kind of fitting fields in where they fit in the environment. So if I ever made a map, you would never see me make a map with big square fields. And that's the only type of field on a map. That'll just never happen. I may make maps, but I'm not going to make one with big square fields. In all honesty, the first couple maps that I'm going to make aren't going to have any fields at all. No fields. No soup for you. No fields for you. Because I don't think we have enough in this game. We don't have enough wilderness style maps. And I think this game needs more wilderness style maps. And I'm surprised that Giants hasn't made a wilderness style map yet. How am I doing? I gotta look at the map here to tell whether or not I'm doing good for my weeding. Oh, I didn't set a course, did I? Maybe I did. Oh, that's right. 30 hours in this tractor, I can start using lane guidance. Was it 30? I think it was 30. I think one of the problems that happens a little bit more with South American maps that I've noticed, going back to the whole like having a custom crop, not having able to harvest it. I feel like we don't see as many South American maps on Mod Hub because I don't think there's as many modders in the South American map community who are willing to put up with the kind of Mod Hub submission process, right? And a lot of times they'll release their maps on King Mods or private sites or whatever, and in many cases those maps will be unfinished, where I feel like they get to about 80 to 90% of the way done with their map and then they just release it. And so you get maps like this, which was about 80 to 90% done, and it's missing basic features like the ability to harvest the custom crops that you have on the map. Like you could harvest some of them, like the black beans and stuff like that was set up properly, but onions and whatnot was not. There was no harvester included with the map to be able to harvest onions or garlic or carrots. And so I had to make harvesters that would do that stuff to be able to harvest. Like, you shouldn't require people to mod to be able to make, to be able to play your map, right? That shouldn't be a requirement. In my mind, I don't think a map is finished unless someone could download your map, install it on their computer with whatever required mods are needed, and be able to play through a season or two or a year or two, and they'd have everything that they need to play, right? So if you need custom buildings, custom equipment, all that kind of stuff, like, you got to include that stuff with your map. Nuclear Salmon, welcome in. But this map didn't have very many. I think it had like 4 or 5 required mods, which, by the way, I have nothing, and I know a lot of people do I have nothing against required mods. Required mods, I think, are fantastic. Now, some mods, I think there's a kind of a tipping point in some way. Some maps are like, there's a map that came out, I forget what it was called. Oh, it started with an O. Osterbeck or something like that. It came out on Mod Hub recently. It had like 68 required mods. 68. And a lot of them were very vague. Not really vague, but like, you know, they were like some, you know, water well. And then they used that water well once on the map, and so it's a required mod. And I got no problem with the required mods, right? Because, here's the reason. This is what most people don't realize. Is that for a map to have custom buildings on it, in most cases, not all, in most cases, those mods are stolen. Especially those that are not released on Mod Hub. And what I mean by that is that the original modder doesn't get credit for you including their building on there. So, like, I was working on a mod, and I reached out to Schultz, who made the Sell Everything mod. And I was like, hey, can I include your mod on this map edit that I'm doing that's going to Mod Hub? But we're going to build it into the map and not have it be an included file. And he said, yes, that's fine. Thanks for asking. But you get lots of other maps that don't do that. And so there's no respect given to the modder who originally made that thing. But if it's an included mod or required mod, especially on Mod Hub, that means that the original modder who made that mod gets credit when you download that mod to play on that map. If you already have it, no big deal. You already have it. You've already downloaded it. But if it's a mod you don't have and you download it, then that modder will get credit for you downloading it and get the respect that they deserve for doing all the work that it took to make that mod, right? But then you get maps that include buildings, you know, and this happens more off of Mod Hub than on, because Mod Hub has policies in place to protect against this stuff. But you get maps that are released off Mod Hub that just use people's mods without asking. Or they just, or, you know, you don't get, there's no actual permission. And for me, I think that that's a level of respect that I think that is deserved, one modder to another. But, you know, I think a lot of people will shy away from a map that has, you know, a large number of required mods. And I don't necessarily think that's fair to that map author, because making a map's hard work. Making a map with custom buildings, even harder, astronomically harder. And so if you want to leverage other buildings that the community has made to make your map feel more alive and more vibrant, or more productions with production chains and custom palettes and all of that stuff, all of that takes time. It takes effort. And by having a required mod and leveraging someone else's work, you're in some ways giving that person credit for the inclusion in your map. So I don't think, from a modding perspective, I would never have a problem if someone, like, I don't think everyone's ever done it, but if someone took my fill station, my fieldwork fill station, and included it into their map as a required mod, I don't think everyone's ever done it, but I would love that. I would be thrilled, because that gives me the exposure to that group of people who made that mod, where my mod is included in their map. And then because it's included as a required mod, I would get, you know, downloads recorded for every download that it comes from someone playing that map. I would love that. And so I think all of this is to say is, remember that modding for everyone. Remember that modding is hard work. Especially creating something that's net new. If you include your own models and whatnot, it's very hard work. And like, even though this map wasn't ready for prime time, I've been shouting out Medeiros Modding, who made this map, every single time someone asks, because they made an amazing map. Had a couple things that I didn't agree with, but they made an amazing map, and I'm gonna respect the fact that they put in all the time and effort to make this amazing map. So I would say, look for the map. Look at a map not for the number of required mods, but look at a map for what it provides. Right? Provides you, provides the player, provides everyone else. Don't look at the required mods list as like a bad thing, because it's really not. Brady, welcome in, sir. How are you today? Hey, my GeForce Game Ready driver is now available. I wonder if that's the the NVIDIA update. I just got a little pop-up on my screen. Well, welcome in, Brady. Welcome in, Kobe. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being here tonight. Unfortunately, welcome and goodbye. Honestly, my time here with you guys is done. It's 8 o'clock. It's closing time for me. Could go spend some time with my family. Maybe work on a challenge or something. And maybe work on finishing off the stuff I couldn't finish on the stream. But I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me for another little session of farming and chatting about mods and all of the fun stuff that comes along with that. It's been really fun. And honestly, hanging out with you guys on Wednesday night or Tuesday night now. Still used to saying Wednesday. It's the highlight of my week. So thank you. But until next time, I'm going to head out and I'm going to hire a worker to finish this field. It's probably the worst idea ever, but I'm going to just go like that, hire a worker, see what happens. Well, and there we go. That's going to be it for tonight. Thank you everyone for being here. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more or like to follow along, I got a couple links that Stream Elements will put up in the chat for me if I can actually type into the chat box. Here we go. I announce whenever I stream on Twitter, usually an hour or so before I stream. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, feel free if you use Twitter. Otherwise, Discord is the best way to get in touch with me. That's not what I wanted to do. So a big ol' heck yeah. And thanks for being here, everybody. And we'll catch you all next time. Hopefully, if schedule permits, Friday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be doing another office hours and messing around with a very complex mod and seeing what happens. We'll see. But that's gonna be it for me tonight. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.